What's up, folks? What's up, folks? What's up? How we doing tonight, man? Feels good to be back. Feels good to be back. Let me hear them hands. Come on, everybody. Everybody's gathering on in. Another edition of the live show. Boy, it's been a minute. Boy, am I happy to get back on the live stream. Life has been lifing. We have not been on the laptop. We've been away from StreamYard. Been trying to keep up with Tottenham as much as possible. I did catch a game on Saturday. We'll get into everything about that. But first, let's just take a moment. Give yourselves a round of applause here for getting here tonight, joining this live stream. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. That's what's most important. I do appreciate it. I do. Premier League is back, baby. It feels good. I can't lie. It feels good. I have something to look forward to on the weekend. My weekends feel incomplete when I'm waking up at the butt crack of dawn every Saturday and Sunday morning with nothing to do. Now I got something to watch. I don't got to watch the Saturday cartoons anymore. I don't got to try to listen to the radio anymore. I got something to watch now. Premier League football. Let's get into it, man. Where's my big face? Here I am. Welcome back, folks. It's De La Spurs back for another edition of De La Spurs Live. Boy, oh boy, has it been a minute since I've hit the live stream, man. It's good to see y'all. It's good to be with y'all. It's good to have the lights and everything. Looking at the StreamYard screen and everything. It's good to be talking about Tottenham, doing a match review. You know, we've been talking about preseason transfers, everything. News has been a little bit slow. As the season, was getting closer and closer to starting. News started to pick up, as well as the transfers and everything. Listen, man, life has been lifing for me. I've been out on the road with work. I have been traveling. I had to go to Chicago, Illinois at one point to do some hail stuff over there. So, I mean, it was I've been away from the streams, been away from StreamYard. So, it's been a minute. I've tried to stream throughout the summer as much as I can, but that's really the busy period for our work. But we're about to head into the slow period now, so we should see some slowing up. So I'll definitely be trying to contribute a little bit more to the streams, trying to get back on that streaming schedule and everything like that. We'll also be covering Tottenham a whole lot more, hopefully with the season underway, the dramas, the whims, the highs and the lows of the Premier League season will also kind of push along the streams and everything. So game week 1 is already down, as you can see in the description. If you haven't seen the description, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Let me take a moment here, actually, and while you're looking at that description, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead, like this live stream first. Second thing you want to do, go ahead, press the subscribe button on De La Spurs. Listen, we're going to be picking up now that the football season started, now that the busy season and work and life is kind of slowed up a little bit now, so we should be getting back on track a little bit more. So you want to lock in on this content. To do that, you're going to want to subscribe to the YouTube, so please do hit the like bell, hit the like button, so that we can go ahead and get this algorithm game going. We can get some more views, get some more eyes on the live stream as well. You can also follow me on X at De La Spurs as well. You can see the content I'm looking at. I was trying to get on X, still post on X as much as I could as well, just to, still see some activity and everything. But getting on that too, we'll be posting and everything when we'll be going live, all that stuff with the links and everything. So you want to be locked into De La Spurs and the content. Do that for me, please. Thank you. All right. So listen, man, we're going to go ahead and get into everything with the game with Brentford. There's enough talking about me, what's been going on in my life. You guys aren't interested in that. You're interested in what's going on with Tottenham. Now, let me make sure I got everything. Okay, I'm going to make sure I got the score going. So, Brentford 3, Tottenham 0. First game of the season. We go out with a whimper. Terrible, terrible, terrible performance. It just looked like from the jump, from the go, we were not ready for what Brentford was going to present to us. Funny enough, and I know I didn't do a like a pre-match, pre-game, whatever. Um, Before this game, but I was thinking in the back of my mind that first off, with the signings that we've made and everything that's been going on, I still think it's going to be a tough game. I still think it's going to be a tough season in general. If you don't know my stances, I will make my stances clear. I say now with the squad the way it is, with the signings of Savinho, and I think Omar Marmoush is going to be coming through the door. In just a couple of days. We're hoping to hopefully have both of those signings ready for Newcastle. But in the event, we do have these two signings. I think that solidifies Tottenham being in the top 10. And I want to make that very clear because a lot of people will say, or I've heard a lot of Tottenham fans saying, top 6 is a definite with this. If we get Gakpo as well, top 4, it's on. We're doing this. Tottenham, we're this weird notion. Tottenham, we're the best team primed to try to get second place to Arsenal, but not challenge. There's some sort of weird, extracurricular around that statement. Either way, for me, it's all nonsense. All right. The reason why we've gotten 17th 2 years in a row is because the squad hasn't been built well. There's been years of negligence going on. The squad building hasn't been done right. And I think we have people who are not capable of doing that correctly in the positions we have now, such as I think Lange, I think Vinay, as much as he's gotten a lot more business done than I would probably expect to say with the Daniel Levy, but there's still some things that are missing in the squad. So there's still some more I would ask from him. But yeah, ultimately, I still don't have trust in this team to be built correctly. And, at the end of the day, we've seen the results of that. So to expect everything to change coming into this Brentford game, I think it's a lot more amnesia than it is hope, if you ask me. I think a lot of Tottenham fans wanted to go in with amnesia, wanted to forget that the last 2 seasons happened, except for the Europa League trophy. They didn't care about the players like Archie Gray, the Bergvalls, Matisse Tells, Richarlisons that have been here and overseen the last 2 years of the worst football we've seen at this club. And there's a reason for that. They're in this game, and what do you know? We see the same results again. So it's for me, it's going to be a tough season until we actually move away and take a step forward, not take these sideways steps, not think really hard about taking a step forward, until we take a step forward with this squad and actually expel what is the bad juju. And we'll take a look at the starting lineups and show you what that bad juju is. But until we get rid of that, man, it's going to be a tough season. And as we saw with the game of Brentford, it was a tough game. Players, it still looked the same as last season. It put carbon copy from last season. You could literally wipe off the date this game occurred. If you would have put 25/26 on there and put that game display and showed that, there wouldn't be any in that highlight of our game tape, it would look no different. Saturday's game will look no different from us fighting in relegation. That's how bad it is. And I would still say at least, more than 75% of that back line was changed, right? That midfield, we had Tonali in there. We'll get into all of that, but it's like we still had new players in there, but you still see just how bad and how low the levels are from the other 50% of the squad being the team it was finished 17th place consecutively. So it is just a terrible match, a terrible, terrible match. When you see the starting lineup, what can you expect? Archie Gray out there on the right back position was getting burnt all game. Bergval in the midfield wasn't able to track anybody. Kinski had a nightmare in goal. It was all the same things that we said that I guess we tried to leave in last season, or that we said wouldn't happen this season. are now still happening this season. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here we go. That's too small. That's better. Wait, is this better? Yeah, that's better. So you can still kind of see my face in the screen. So as you can see here, we got the starting lineups from the match. Going for Tottenham in goal, we had Kinski. That back line starts as Archie Gray out on the right, Van Hecke and Senesi. The two new signings for Tottenham this season are the partnership for this game. Andrew Robertson started out on the left for his debut at Tottenham as well. Tonali made his debut in the midfield for Tottenham. Up top, we had Mikey Moore making his debut for Tottenham as well, with the likes of Matisse Tell out there on the opposite flanks. We had Gallagher and Richarlison as the two attacking players in the center. Now, like I said before, you have a little bit, pretty much 50%, 50-50. 50% of the squad is new, 50% of the squad is old. Now, I want you to take a look at the players who performed well. And I want you to take a look at the players performed bad or got a bad score according to SofaScore. And I'm not sure if you can even see these numbers. These numbers might be a little bit too small. Let me know. I'm not sure if there's anybody in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, see if that makes it any better. Oh, my God. You know, I don't think that did. Hopefully that made it a little bit better so you can see it better. But like I said, take a look at the SofaScore. You may not even have to see the actual numbers. Just look at the colors of the score, of what you know is good and what you know is bad. If you know Brentford won the game, you see the players out there on the left side. A lot of their players are in the green. So you might think that that's a good thing to have your scorecard in the green. So go ahead and look at the right at Tottenham's and look at the players who have the scorecard in the green. I'm trying to break this down and make it as simple as possible so you don't think that there's any sort of, like I have any sort of bias or anything. Like, let's just make this as simple and as easy to understand. Look at the players who have a green scorecard for Tottenham and look at the players who don't. Do you notice a trend with that? Do you notice that there's something that has kind of been consistent over the last, I try to do quick math of 365 times 2, but for the last 2 seasons, last 2 years, I can guarantee you the players like Matisse Tell, Richarlison, Archie Gray, Bergvall, that have these scores of barely even getting to 6.5, barely getting back to 6.0 where you start at the beginning of a match, right? I guarantee you these players, right, were getting these same sort of scores, these player scores on SofaScore all throughout last season, all throughout the season before that. And I guarantee you they probably were getting the same ones even before that as well. So just so you understand, right, so you don't think that I'm one of these Tottenham fans that are quote-unquote negative or toxic, or that I don't want to give the youngsters a chance, or that I have some sort of bias against these players. It's not a bias. You literally have the evidence in front of you. 50% of the squad is new. 50% of the squad is old. 50% of the squad did well, somewhat well. I mean, we all lost together as a team, right? I'm not saying that the 3 goals should be blamed on 50% of the squad and the other 50% shouldn't hold blame, right? Everybody on that Tottenham team, everybody in that 11, including De Zerbi as well, holds accountability for this loss. And we'll get into De Zerbi too in a bit. But notice how all the players who are new are in the green. All the players who are old in the red, orange, didn't have good games, right? This is not some sort of magic trick I put together. This is not some sort of trick the media is trying to put together to gaslight Tottenham fans for the sake of it. This is real life. These players aren't good. Like, these players aren't good. That's just the simple fact of it. Like, the players, they're not good. They just I just don't know what to tell you. They're not at Tottenham's level. And the longer and the more they stay here and the more games they play, the worse it's going to get. I mean, first of all, the worst player out there on the field, which was Lucas Bergvall, who let's remember, by the way, hold on. I think I still have this tweet up. Oh my, I still got this tweet up. Come on. I still got this tweet up. Hold up. Where is it? Look at this. Do we not remember this? What's the date of this tweet? What's the date of this tweet? This was in June. This was in June. Late June. So right after the season ended, I think World Cup is still going on. I think at this time, maybe. I think World Cup, or maybe the World Cup just ended, but there was already a bid for Bergvall to get out the door, to not be here. He didn't want to be here. He knew he wasn't going to get the starting time. We rejected the bid. I don't know why. I don't know why. But this player was out the door. This player, now let's fast forward to today or to Saturday. The shit that he served up on Saturday, why? First of all, why is he even starting? You can see on the bench we had Rodrigo Bentancur that could have played. We had who eventually did go in for Bergvall. We had Mateus Fernandez, who is supposed to be the savior alongside Tonali with their midfield. They're not starting. Why is that? Why are we giving the start to Bergvall? Why are we starting Archie Gray at the right back position? Why are we doing these things? What's the deal with that? Why? I don't understand why we are deciding to, or why De Zerbi is deciding to make these horrible decisions. I mean, you can even take it further with this, right? So Bergvall last season, and you can even say Archie Gray and Matisse Tell, but Bergvall, right? Bergvall was also in that team fighting for relegation with everybody else. And you know what? When De Zerbi came in and he gave Bergvall and the Archie Gray and the Matisse Tells a chance, and we were still losing, you know what he did? He took them out. And he played Paulinho. And he played Bentancur. And he played Conor Gallagher. And we won. We won games. We were able to draw games. We were able to get results. We were able to start getting points on the board that were needed. And it all ties in together. This is not some sort of bias. This is not some sort of narrative. This is the truth. He's not good enough to be at Tottenham. He never was. He shouldn't be starting here at Tottenham. Archie Gray shouldn't be starting at right back. That's not even his position. Matisse Tell, he shouldn't be starting either, but I don't think we'll have to worry about that for much longer. You can even make the same thing for Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore, I have more time for because he hasn't even necessarily played. I think this is the first time he's been included in the senior team. If he makes it through to the transfer window, this will be the first time I think he'll be included in the senior team for like a season ever. So I got a little bit more time for him. But Bergvall, Archie Gray, Matisse Tell, I've been watching these players for the past 2-3 years. I know they're not good enough. And De Zerbi, he chose to go with Bergvall, whatever reason, to start him. I don't know why. Archie Gray, right back, captain. Don't know why. Do you see that little C right there? I don't know if you can see that, but there's a C. There's a C right there next to Archie Gray. Right after the numbers. That's captain. Why is he the captain? I don't know why. But terrible decisions. Terrible decisions. Get some of the stats from the game. Obviously, these aren't going to be in our favor. But let's just go ahead and take a look. Let's All right. Got the player stats for Tottenham pulled up. I wonder if there's a way to look up like just the team stats. It might be under here actually. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So let's look at the stats from the game. Let's look at the first half. All right. So you can see first half, we are the team in blue. If you're looking at the colors, right? We are the team in blue. Brentford's in green. So you can see for that first half, we just had a little bit more possession of them, but you can see from what was generated, nothing came from that. Brentford had the 1.7 xG. They actually got the goal as well. 2 goals, I'm sorry, in the second half or in the first half. So you can see 4 big chances created, 11 shots. We had 0 chances created. 51%, 0 chances created. That means there's a lot of sidewards and backwards. That's a lot. That's something we've been saying since what? Before Thomas Frank, before – I mean, it's I'm just saying, the players that we've seen that's transcend these managers, notice how we see, even in the stats, it reflects that these players are just not good enough. Fouls committed, we had less fouls. You can see the passes, you just edged them in the passes, same amount of tackles. So you can see there was a higher concentration of going down that left side than going down the right. So more focused on going down the side with Matisse Tell than Mikey Moore, which no, this was a Premier League game. This is not a preseason game. This wasn't a game in the championship. No, we weren't playing Sydney FC. We weren't playing, whatever, Oxford Athletic Club. No, this was a Premier League match against Brentford, right? Another team in London, a London derby, if you want to consider that, right? Again, looking at the attack, through balls. Look at that. Just look how, and this is actually very telling of just how poor Conor Gallagher was as the number 10. Look at the chances created, through balls. Look, like what were we doing on the attack? All these are zeros in the first half. We did absolutely nothing. Yet we had 51% of the ball. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? When you technically edge in possession, but you had absolutely zero impact on the attack. Look at the pass map. All those passes right there, right along the halfway line, sideways and backwards. More higher percentage going that way than going this way. Forwards and backwards. I'm telling you, folks, and we were going from right to left in the first half. So from right to left, right, backwards, midfield, forwards, backfield, midfield, forward, right, sideways and backwards were all we were doing in that first half. 29%, less than a third of our passes and what we tried to do in that first half was in the attacking third. So that's an indictment, first of all, on the number 10, which was Conor Gallagher. He's not a number 10, right? I get he played that role last season. Again, when we just kind of needed some grown men to kind of stand up and pull themselves up by the bootstraps, put on their big boy pants and get us a point or 3 points in a game that we needed so we don't get relegated, right? I get Conor Gallagher stood in and played a role there because we didn't have a 10. Xavi was out. But he is not a number 10. He's not a creative player. Damn near don't think he should even be on the attacking side of the ball. He needs to be in that midfield where he's tracking back on both sides, and he needs to be demanded as much defensively as he is offensively. I don't think he needs to be a freaking number 10, but we don't have anybody that can play in that position. I get it. interesting enough, I would have definitely put what's his name? The youngster that Williams Barnett that played attacking young player, right? I would have had him, put him into the squad, bring him in. So guess what? When we have situations where we have 3 attacking number 10s that can't play, and your 4th is an academy product, then okay, all right. First of all, he's the 4th string, so we never expected this academy product to necessarily get game time. So the fact that he's starting game 1 in the Premier League is not necessarily the best circumstances, right? And then second, from what he showed in the preseason, he showed way more. And I understand baby James Madison didn't play, but he showed way more than the Mikey Moores, Matisse Tells, Archie Grays, James Madison's. He was probably one of the best player on the ball during the preseason, right? Probably one of the best players on the ball as far as how he looks. He looks confident. When you see a player and they have a ball at their feet and they look confident, there's like this, not a casualness, but they're relaxed on the ball because they know what they can do. They know what they're capable of. So they're not tense, looking around at players trying to calculate how much time they have the ball, how many touches they need to take. They know what they can do. They know what they're capable of. All right. They look around. They see how much space they got. All right, let me move the ball forward. I'm small walk, small steps, maybe a small little sprint. I know I can. They know they can. They know they got that. And they know they got that in the game, right? So they know they got that. You know what I'm saying? They can. They don't got to worry about that. I don't worry about like they don't have to freak out like a Richarlison, right? Look how Richarlison plays on the ball. Look how he probably looks like a deer in headlights whenever he's in some space, right? Whenever he sees a ball is coming to him, whenever he does have the ball at his feet. And look at a player like a Williams Barnett. Look at a player like like a Cole Palmer, right? Cole Palmer, Phil Foden. Hell, you can look to players like, I think Dele Alli was the same way. When you just see a player, they just have so much skill. There's this relax. There's there's no tension in how they're playing with the ball at their feet. They're just going. They get the ball and they go. They know what they're capable of. That's what this kid has. And for me, I don't know. I'd rather see that in the 10 than see Conor Gallagher struggle, see him try to move into spaces. There were times where I saw him move into space and it was nothing would happen because he's not good enough to make anything happen on the ball. He probably doesn't even believe he's good enough to make anything happen on the ball. So there's moments where you see him trying to float into spaces where he could try to get the ball, but like you could tell there is no command from him to give me the ball in this space. There's no command for the defense to, we need to track that guy. We need to make sure we have our eyes on Conor fucking Gallagher moving around on the field, right? Crazy. But, like, it's the truth. Looking at the other stats, looking at the duels, we lost out on the duels. We were dispossessed more in the first half. We won on the ground duels, lost on the aerial duels. And that was a common thing. I think, I'm pretty sure that second goal was a set-piece goal. Was it a set-piece goal? No, was it the first one that was a set-piece goal? I think it was the first one that was a set-piece goal. I can't remember. I think one of them was definitely a set-piece goal. But that just shows you we were losing the aerial duels. We weren't necessarily getting the most out of them in the ground duels as well. We did have more ground duels, but I mean, also look at the passes, right? We had more accurate passes, but it's a lot easier to pass accurately when you're going sideways and backwards. Look at the final third entries. They had more final third entries, right? They had more long ball. They had more crosses. Their goalkeeper didn't have to make a save. Our goalkeeper only made one. As we move into the second half, looking at the stats, dominated the ball a lot more. I think with the introduction of players like Mateus Fernandez coming into the game, Bentancur came into the game, Udogi, right? James Madison, he also got some time as well. So, right, there was you have better players out there on the field. There was a lot more control. But again, look at the stats for the XG. Didn't really generate anything. Brentford just as dangerous as they were before. Like 2.18 XG. We are still only not even at 1 point XG. We're not even still at 0.75 as if we got like a penalty. We don't even have a penalty's worth of XG in our attack. We had two big chances that we created. I definitely remember one of those is Mikey Moore. He definitely scuffed that chance, just kicked it straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Can't be doing that, Mikey, if you're going to be making it at this big level. Bro, I'm sorry, but in the Premier League, you got to put your laces through that ball. You got to try to shoot the ball through the goalkeeper's hands if you are going to aim directly at the goalkeeper. If not, you need to pick a corner. And if you're not good enough to do that, boy, you need to work on that. You need to work on that fast. You need to work on that fast. Goalkeeper saves, it was even at 4. You see there, we definitely had more of the passes in the second half. But at that point, right, Brentford's up 2-0. I'm sure in their mind, they'd rather just sit back and defend than try to be dominant in possession on the ball. Looking at, let's see here. Looking at the shots, total shots, we only had 6 to their 15. We had 4 on target to their 5. Again, only not even half of XG on there. They had 13 shots inside the box to our 4, even on the shots outside of the box. As you can see in the second half, look at the attack. We had 2 big chances missed, right? No through balls again. So again, really no creativity going on. Just a matter of passing it sideways and backwards enough to finally catch Brentford out of position. And then we try to close in on that space, that gap they left while they were moving laterally. Duels were at 50%. Again, just bested them in the ground duels. Still lost in the aerial duels. You can see here 4 goalkeeper saves apiece. Looking at the passing, again, we had more passes. I don't think Brentford was necessarily wanting to keep the ball from us. I think they just wanted to defend. We had more final third entries in that second half. That's after we were down 2-0 already. They still had more long balls and more accurate crosses than we could create. So again, the creativity pieces, I think, is a big thing. And I'm not sure what Brentford's squad is. Actually, let's take a look back at their lineup. So it looks like in that 10 position they had Jensen. I know as well Janelt, he got a goal. I can't remember if he got – no, he didn't get an assist. Okay. But he got a goal as well. Those look like there's 2 very creative players. Sangare, he came in as well. I think he was a new signing for Brentford. So for them, they're creative players. And again, I'm not really sure about Jensen. He's an 8, but he's playing as a 10. Very similar to Conor Gallagher, actually. But look at the difference in the score, right? And you can probably tell. Look at the difference of the impact their players made, right? Just for me, altogether, kind of what I gathered from this, and ultimately what I can probably say is that Brentford were more gathered or were more prepared for this game. They wanted this game more than Tottenham. I think that's definitely for sure. I think they wanted this game more for Tottenham. Wanted it more than Tottenham. I think they were more prepared. I think they wanted it more. They were just more in the moment than Tottenham were. I think our heads are still a little bit in the clouds from preseason. I think we're still on a little bit of a feel-good gravy train right now. We're just happy that everything was working. Everything felt good. We were finally crumpling it up last season and throwing it behind us and looking forward to next season. And I just don't think that we had I don't think we had our feet on the ground yet. I don't think we were prepared for the sucker punch Brentford were preparing to throw us for the first game of the season. I just think it was very evident, just lack of energy, lack of pace, a lack of focus, even on De Zerbi's end, the squad choices, and we're about to get into that next, but like the squad choices, like they were bad. I think he took Brentford light. I don't think he really anticipated them going that hard, or maybe he didn't intend that they were just going to come out and try to sucker punch us, but it's a London derby. It's a London derby. You're playing away, first game of the Premier League season. We played Brentford, I want to say, for the past 2 or 3 seasons, first game of the season. We never won. As a manager, I'm not saying he's going back and checking Tottenham's Wikipedia history or our match history, but for me as a fan, that stands out. If I know that we haven't won at a place, we played this team for the last 2 or 3 seasons as our opener and we haven't won, right? Why would I think that this season is going to get any easier? Right after having a bad season as well. Why do you think this team was going to lay down for the home opener? Why would I think that we should be able to put a soft lineup out there, that everything was going to be fine? One of the toughest teams in the Premier League, hands down. Whether you beat them 4-0, right? Because Brentford are one of these teams, right, where that scoreline can be reversed, right? You can beat them 3-0 in a game where they're just not at it. But in a game where they are at it, they can put 3 up on the board, and it's up for you to figure it out. And for Tottenham, we had no answers. De Zerbi had no answers. Real quick, I just want to do best. So best player for Tottenham, we're going to make this very quick. I ruffled it between 3 players. Obviously, Matisse Tell, Archie Gray, and Bergvall for my 3 worst players. For my 3 best players, I have Robertson, I have Tonali, and Robertson, Tonali. I think Fernandez had a good showing, a decent showing. Yeah. Let's go Fernandez, Tonali, Robertson for my 3 good players. 3 bad players, Bergvall, Archie Gray, Matisse Tell. So let me see. Who was our worst player? Let's go with worst player first. Who's the worst player? It would have had to be Lucas Bergvall. And I'm not just saying that because he had the lowest SOFA score. I'm saying that because, one, I think that second goal, I'm pretty sure at some point he had a challenge he could go into. He went into it soft, lost the challenge. They get the rebound for that second goal because they just simply had the numbers after that. That was bad defending on Van Heg, Senesi, and everybody else involved. But Lucas Bergvall, for me, did not shine at all in this game. I think he had a rough game. Archie Gray came very close in second because all that first half, he was getting ripped up and down the right side. But for me, Lucas Bergvall, you're in the midfield. That is one of the most, especially in a game against Brentford, the most critical positions that we needed. You were not there. You didn't step up. Honestly, I think that left Tonali out on the island a little bit because there's definitely some moments where I saw Tonali very slow to pass on the ball. I saw Tonali being pulled out of position trying to cover. And as soon as Brentford switched up, boom, there's more space. But why is there more space? Well, because when you only have 2 midfielders, they got to be in the right position at the right times because then you have a huge fucking gap between Conor Gallagher and Senesi that if Tonali's out of place and Lucas Bergvall is playing like crap, you're just going to have that wide open gap, this gap, all this space in between there that's wide open. And for Brentford, once you get into that space, you either go straight for goal or you can kick it out wide to your right side. You got players that could be coming in on here on a run. Like it just makes the team more vulnerable when that space is open. And I don't think Bergvall wrapped himself in any sort of glory. He was really involved in the second goal. So I say he's a worse player. Now, who is the best player on the team against Brentford? Wait, hold on. Who was it? It was surprisingly enough, I'm going to give this to Mateus Fernandez. I'm giving this to Mateus Fernandez because, one, I think that back line had a poor game. And Andy Robertson, who I didn't necessarily think was not necessarily involved. I think maybe that second goal, I think, was a little bit on the right side. It was definitely in the middle, but I think there was some defending that could have been done that was a little bit better on that second goal. I don't really think he did too much on the offensive end either. I know that was one of his big positives or one of the benefits of getting Andy Robertson was, okay, now you have a threat going down that left side of crossing that can match up with Pedro Porro's threat of crossing and attack on the right. But Andy Robertson did not wrap himself in any sort of I guess positive light with the performance he had offensively. Who else did I say? I said Tonali. Again, I said there were some moments where Tonali was slow on the ball. He did have some miscued passes in that midfield. I think some growing pains. One thing for sure, when behind you and next to you have Conor Gallagher, in front of you have Conor Gallagher, and next to you have Lucas Bergvall, you will feel like you're on an island as far as your actual play and passing. So I'm going to cut him some slack. I think once Mateus Fernandez came in, I think when Madison came in, the passing was a whole lot better. The stats prove that as well. So I believe that if he has a partnership of what he was meant to believe is supposed to be Fernandez, and then hopefully a Madison or Xavi up front in front of him, that it will be a lot easier to pass. He won't have to sit on the ball. He won't turn the ball over as much, nor will he be caught out of position whenever we need to track back. So I will give the best player to Mateus, who really should have been starting this game as well, in my opinion. Should have been the starter, but it is what it is, folks. He wanted to sit on. I'm not sure if there was some injury worries there or what. Hopefully we don't as soon as the season freaking starts, but it's Tottenham. That's always going to happen. One, did De Zerbi get it right? I think that's probably going to be a big fat no. He didn't get it right. There's a lot of things that had issues as far as the squad selection goes with this game, making Archie Gray the captain when you have Tonali, you have Senesi, you have Conor Gallagher, you have Andy Robertson out there, who is literally the captain for Scotland. I'm pretty sure. If it's not what's his name at Aston Villa, it's Andy Robertson. You have Tonali, who, again, I'm pretty sure may be the captain of Italy. If it's not like a defender, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Tonali, right? Conor Gallagher, he was wearing the captain's armband at Chelsea. There were so many options you could have chosen from De Zerbi to make the captain in this game, and I do think that had an effect on the game, right? Because when you have a young player like that who instantly was getting ripped apart in the first couple of minutes of the game, right? I'm sure his confidence dips down a lot. And when you see your confidence of your captain, you see his head dip down and he's looking low, and then the team starts attacking, and then they score. How do you think the rest of the team, how do you think the other 10 players on the field is going to feel? Like, how do you think they're going to take Archie Gray being frustrated and upset and probably start throwing a hissy fit and being frustrated out there on the field because he's a teenager? Again, I'm not saying that it's anything his fault. He's a young player, right? So for all the things all the foils he has as a young player, as far as his mentality, to make him the captain, and have that reflect on the whole 11 out there on the field, it was bound to fail. It was bound to fail. So De Zerbi got it wrong with that. Starting Lucas Bergvall was another horrible decision. To be quite honest, this player didn't want to be here. He wanted to leave. He didn't think he'd be getting the starting time. You said that you didn't want to keep players that didn't want to stay here at Tottenham. But what do? You reward Lucas Bergvall by starting the first game of the season. Now, maybe, just maybe, in a twisted game of mental 3D chess, De Zerbi put him out there on that platform to fail, to say, hey, you're not good enough. Everybody can see it. I can see it. Now you can see it. Get the fuck out. But I really doubt that, because I think there was conflicting reports coming out saying that, oh, well, I know Lucas Bergvall was leaving, but he never told me he wanted to leave, and I want him to stay now. I'm pretty sure it was the same thing with like an Archie Gray or whatever, right? That, oh, well, I didn't say these players had to go. I just said if you didn't want to stay, you don't have to stay. But it's like, but now when you get asked specifically about these players who are fringe players, oh, well, I'll keep them. I don't mind them playing in the team. Well, no. Lucas Bergvall wasn't good enough. He wanted to go. Offers came in. The club rejected them, which I imagine was based off of your word, De Zerbi, that you didn't want him to go. The club said, well, if you don't want him to go, we don't want to sell him for just $50 million. We're going to say no. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a little iffy to me. And if that's not the case, that's not the case. But the fact that he starts in this game leads me to think that De Zerbi does have a soft spot for Bergvall. You didn't start Bentancur. You didn't start Fernandez, your 85 million pound answer to the midfield, along with your other shiny 100 million pound toy sitting right there starting next to him. So you didn't want to start your two shiny toys. You put Lucas Bergvall out there. He falls flat on his face. That's on you, De Zerbi. Richarlison starting. That's on you. I would have had Solanke out there. Would have had somebody else out there. Conor Gallagher starting in the 10. That's on you, De Zerbi. You had a young academy player out there in the 10 that was shining all throughout the preseason, and you decided to not put him in the squad. Now, granted, well, actually, no, I think he was old enough. Was he old enough to get in the squad? Actually, I'm not sure if he was old enough to get in the squad. So, actually, that might not be a point. I may be wrong on that. If I'm wrong on that, someone check me on that, because he may not be old enough, that Williams-Barnett kid. He may not be old enough to get into the squad. So, that may be on me. That may be on me. But so let's just hold off on that Conor Gallagher point, because I just thought about that for a second. Because I remember I was like, wait a minute, I think he was like only like 15 or 16 at the time. I'm not sure how old you have to be to actually be in the starting lineup, but I would imagine you probably have to at least be like 16, 17, maybe 18 to be in a Premier League game. I'm not sure if they will allow 15-year-olds to start, but we'll see. Someone would check me on that, hopefully. But yeah, other than that, though, Archie Gray at captain, him starting at right back, Lucas Bergvall, right, starting. For me, these are all major mistakes. He's contributed to the loss, and ultimately, De Zerbi has to hold the L for that. He does. Got to hold the L, buddy. I'm sorry. It is what it is, you know. Because I'm a fan of De Zerbi. I'm not saying it's De Zerbi out now or anything like that, but I mean, if you ask me, making Archie Gray captain, and to be fair, you know what? I am going to be fair. I'm going to be fair. I'm putting my fist down now. I'm going to go ahead and say it. You know, Archie Gray starting at right back is strike number one for De Zerbi. Strike number one. Strike number one. You can't start Archie Gray as a captain. Captain at right. He's already out of position. So, you know, it'd be different if this was your natural captain. This was the squad selected captain, right? And he was just playing out of position for that game. But he's already out of position because he's not good enough to be in this position. And then you want to, on top of that, make him the captain. And he mentally is not good enough to even do that either. I'm sorry, De Zerbi, but that is strike one. That's strike one for me, man. That is crazy that you would even try to do that. and think that there was going to be some sort of, again, I'm not sure if there's some 3D mental chess going on to say like, hey, these young players, like I'm putting you in these positions. I would put players in the positions you want to play in. And if you're not good enough to do it, then you're not good enough to play on my team. Like, I'm not sure if this is like a display of that or if this is him actually believing that Lucas Bergvall is good enough to start in the midfield for this team. Archie Gray is actually good enough to start at right back for the team. If not, is captain for Tottenham Hotspur, can stand in as a captain for Tottenham Hotspur. I refuse to believe that the latter. So I'm going to believe in a delusion in the former. He's playing some sort of 3D mental chess to kind of torture these young players and kind of get them out the squad to make them not want to be a part of the squad. So it's a lot easier for him to kind of move on from them versus, I guess having to be the enemy, having to break their hearts, whatever. I don't know. Whatever delusional. I'm trying to be delusional so this makes sense because it doesn't make sense to me. But either way, De Zerbi, wow, your first instance this season, you failed. Believe it. Cannot believe it. Cannot believe it. Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the match review of the game. I'm not sure if I really had anything else that I wanted to cover as far as let me see. Looking at these other topics that I wrote down, I might save some of these for later. Yeah, I might save some of these for later. Or Tottenham fans falling for it again. Yeah, I don't want to get into that, man. Let me go ahead and wrap the stream up now. We've been going for an hour, man. I could go in that for a minute. So let me go ahead and wrap up the stream up now. Let me go ahead and wrap up. Tuning in for another. It's been a minute. I miss you guys. I miss going live. I miss talking about Tottenham. I miss giving my opinions on things. So I appreciate you guys coming in for another edition of the show. Leave your comments below what you think about the show. Glad to see it back. Hate to see it exist again. Whatever it is, let me know what you think. As well, go ahead, hit the like button on this live stream. Subscribe to De La Spurs YouTube. So you can go ahead and be a part of the family. Go ahead and get in on this next live. We're going to try to go live next Friday for the match. I know we played Newcastle. Let me make sure that's the right game. Let me make sure I got. Let's see. On the 29th, it is the 24th. Let me make sure. Yeah. So that's a Saturday. It's a Saturday. Yeah. So Saturday. Oh, wow. Just came across the ticker too. We agreed the loan deal for Marmoush. So we are getting Marmoush on a loan. So I think that was kind of more to just get him through the door as quickly as possible. So we are going to loan Marmoush and then probably, depending on how he does, more than likely just buy him at the end of this season. But I just saw that came across the ticker as well. So we do have Omar Marmoush. Hopefully we can get everything done and completed and signed, and he'll be good to go for Saturday against Newcastle. What I'll do is for that Friday, the day before, we'll do a match preview. Tottenham versus Newcastle. Are we playing at home? Is that a home game? Let me see. That is a home game. Yeah, so first home game of the season. Be a tough opponent in Newcastle. I know they didn't necessarily win against Liverpool, but I think they gave them a good game. I think the fans were I don't want to say surprised, but I think they were definitely happy with the performance from the players and their new manager. So it'll be interesting to see what Newcastle will bring to us next Saturday. But listen, we're gonna be discussing that on Friday. We'll also be catching up on all the news that happens around Tottenham. But until then, folks, that is it for today's live stream. Thank you again for joining me, De La Spurs, for another edition of the show. I will see you on Friday. I don't know what time I'll stream on Friday, but I will go live on Friday. So until then,